Good morning and happy Tuesday. Here for another Talk Therapy Tuesday. My name is Tanya McLean Nicholas, licensed marriage family therapist and owner of Renewed Hope Counseling. Today's topic, understanding the intense emotion of anger, in hopes to find constructive ways to channel them. So grab your tea or your coffee, whichever you prefer, and let's dig in. Anger is an emotion that is highly misunderstood. It's often labeled and seen as a negative emotion. Anger is that emotion that many want to avoid, quickly get rid of, or dismiss as invalid. So people will try to suppress it. We stuff it. Or those of us watching others experience the intense emotion will sometimes tell them, don't be angry, or show them a dozen reasons why their anger is not really warranted. Or maybe we say nothing and just stand back in judgment, criticizing others who are experiencing the intense emotion, which further causes people to stuff it, suppress it, or worse yet, become even more angry because they feel invalidated. As human beings, we have the ability to feel all kinds of emotions at varying degrees of intensity. Anger is a basic, valid emotion and can arise in varying contexts, such as maybe receiving a criticism. I have a need that's not met, it's not meeting my expectation, I get angry. An inability to access certain resources that I may need, I get angry. Or experiencing an injustice for myself or wrong done to myself or maybe to someone else. We are about 6 months into the year 2020, and the intense emotion of anger has become all too real for many. It ranges from small irritation to outright rage. Our body kind of gives us these physical warning signs that we're angry, such as a change in our breathing. Maybe we'll get heavy breathing, our heart rate, sweating or shaking. That's just to name a few. Anger is our internal alarm system, I like to call it, that tells us that something is wrong. So it's not bad. As a matter of fact, without feelings of anger, many of us wouldn't have taken a stand for something that was unfair or unjust. However, far too often when the alarm system is triggered, we're quick to push the snooze button, shut it down, also known as suppressing or stuffing, or lashing out in our anger in hopes of finding relief. We have to take the time to explore or understand our internal alarm, or in other words, sitting with our anger, validating our intense emotion, and then thinking of healthy ways to work through it that will lead to healthy living, sustainable change and outcome, and less regret about what we may have said or done. What many people do not realize is that anger is a secondary emotion. It's the emotion that shows up to protect against the more vulnerable emotion, the more raw emotion, such as loss, fear, hurt, sadness, or loneliness, and many others. These vulnerable emotions are not just uncomfortable, they can make one feel powerless and out of control, which is why people will avoid operating in these emotions and will subconsciously shift to an angry mode. So for instance, in the last 6 months, many people have lost their jobs, their flow of income has been impacted, disease has affected them or their family members or their friends, or we've watched injustice take place throughout our nation. What people are really experiencing is fear, hurt, and sadness for their lives, their livelihood, and the lives of others. So instead of feeling scared, hurt, or sad, anger gives us this energy burst that makes you feel more in control and powerful instead of vulnerable and powerless in the face of uncertainty. So how do we work with the intense emotion of anger? Well, first, let me tell you what we have to stop doing. As a culture, we have a tendency to devalue or minimize what's uncomfortable, what's unrelatable to us, or what we do not understand. Another person's anger is a true experience for them, and it is always rooted in a primary emotion or thought. It's of great benefit to understand the deep hurt that triggers the emotion of anger. So think of anger as an iceberg. Learning what is beneath the surface of your anger and assigning the proper feeling and thought associated to anger is helpful. So in other words, by recognizing the more vulnerable emotion, it allows us the ability to name your feeling. What's the emotion that anger is covering and protecting for you? Is it hurt? sadness, fear, let's give it its rightful name. Accept your feelings. Accept what you're feeling as real and true for you. The suppression of feelings only intensifies the feeling, causing it to feel 10 times worse than it is. Think of the situation and attach the situation to your emotions, and then validate why you feel that way. Don't get me wrong, feelings are not always facts. However, they are still your feelings and worthy of validation. Express your feelings out loud or on paper. Expressing your feelings allows the opportunity to mentally process. Align yourself with someone or something as an outlet of expression. You might be surprised that others share your same feelings, hurts, or passions. Take care of yourself. Finding constructive ways to channel our intense, angry emotions can be helpful. For example, if you're passionate about an injustice or a wrong, taking that energy and aligning yourself with a cause that fights for or shares in creating change is valuable. Target the thought attached to more vulnerable emotions. Ask yourself, what do you want to do with that thought? At the end of the day, what do you need to see happen? Find healthy outlets that don't compromise your safety or the safety of others. And develop healthy coping skills that will distract from the overwhelming, intense feelings of anger. Praying, meditation, and many other calming strategies. Finding the right social support who will encourage and demonstrate empathy towards your emotions. Once you recognize the primary emotion that drives anger, use that as fuel to provoke healing and change by placing yourself in the mindset to problem solve. We don't want to allow our anger to keep us in a place of powerlessness, but a problem-solving mindset that helps you to focus on what I do have control over and how I can channel this energy, this passion, this anger positively to work for my good and for the good of others. Now, I know managing intense emotions of anger is not that easy, and this talk may not be a fit for every situation or person that's dealing with anger. I recognize there's so many other factors to consider about the cause of anger, and each circumstance is different. And this talk is not a one-shot cure for all. What I do know, though, is that anger is always fueled by a primary emotion. And getting to the more vulnerable emotion, validating that emotion, and problem solving by working with a professional to healing and finding a positive outcome are key. So keep seeking understanding, because with understanding comes wisdom. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I'm Tanya McLean-Nicholas, licensed marriage family therapist. Keep praying, keep loving, keep hoping. Have a blessed day.